welcome everybody to the June meeting of the Library Marketing Book Club. It's really great to see everybody. I'm so glad that you could be here. Many familiar faces, some new faces. So very cool. This month we're going to be discussing Contagious. So Contagious by Jonah Berger, Why Things Catch On. And of course, always open season on any good library marketing topics that come up. So thanks so much. And we got a pretty small group, so we can go through a real quick meet and greet just so we can get to know each other a little better. So I'll just call on you, and if you just say your name, what library system you're from, and what you do there, that would be great. Why don't we start with Morgan, Door County.
My name's Morgan Mann, and I work at Door County Library, which is a 8-branch system in Wisconsin. If you're familiar with the shape of Wisconsin, it looks like your hand, and Door County is right in the tip, and it's a peninsula. So I am the community relations library assistant there. So I do everything from the website to all printed materials, social media, and videography, as well as having some desk hours.
That's awesome. Wow. So you're doing it all. That's great. Very nice. How about JD Smithson?
Hi, I'm JD. I'm at the Coeur d'Alene Public Library in North Idaho, in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I'm the communications coordinator here. I'm still within my first 6 months of this job, and I do desk duty as well sometimes. I don't do the website. I've got to claw it out of my IT guy's hands. It's horrible looking. I'm working on it.
It's a bummer. It looks like you have a microphone there too,
I also look at this.
Look at you have a filter and everything.
Yeah, it makes everything sound so good.
Yeah, so see, Angela, you need something. Angela, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Next there.
I have microphone envy like you would not believe. All I've got is this little headset right now. I'm Angela Hirsch, and I actually work for Novelist, which is a company that has a couple of products. One for a database for finding books, matching books and readers. Another that's for library marketing, core collections, the whole thing. Before this, I worked for about 7 years at the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County, working in marketing. And I have a blog called superlibrarymarketing.com. And I love seeing all your fabulous faces. So thanks for inviting me.
Thanks, Angela. And I see somebody, and the name I see looks like Roet, R-O-E-T. Maybe did I get that right, or is it something else?
First name's Tara, so it's.
Oh, okay, Tara.
I'm Tara Rowe. I work at OCLC, so I'm fairly new to the public library world, and just trying to learn all I can. Been in marketing for about 20 years at an insurance company, which is very, very different than public libraries. So this has really been feeding my soul in the last year. So excited to learn.
Thanks, Tara. Thanks very much. Sarah Andrews.
Hi, I'm Sarah Andrews. I work at Hardin Library for the Health Sciences. So we're an academic health sciences library at a research institution, but we are also open to the public and answer kind of random medical questions. I've been in my library system for almost 32 years. So I have an amalgamation of tasks. My marketing tasks are blog and social media. I also do reference. I'm a liaison. And the bulk of my job is project management on our institutional repository.
Oh, very cool. Good. It's good to have you here. Thanks, Sarah. Linda, how about you?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Linda and I'm from Sweden. And I'm here because I happened to meet Chris when I went to the US for an educational. and to look at their makerspace. So I'm working with the librarians in Sweden and their digital competencies. So it's more, not as much marketing as you guys, but I'm interested in anything like podcasts and stuff. So I'm curious to be a part of the book club today.
Thanks, Linda. It's great to have you here. Appreciate it. Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle Dankenbring, and I am the marketing specialist for the Manatee County Library System in Bradenton, Florida. And so I do all the newsletters, social media, marketing, website, a little bit of everything.
Awesome. Yay, Florida. Good to have you here. Angela, other Angela.
Hi, I'm Angela Rhines. I work at the Easton Area Public Library in Easton, Pennsylvania, doing marketing and PR. So social media, websites, and then I also am on the reference desk, the CERC desk. So if I pop out early, it's because I have to cover a break in a little bit. So
Okay, no problem. No problem. Always an option here. So thanks. Rhiannon.
Hey, my name is Rhiannon Eads. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Athens Regional Library System. We're based in Athens, Georgia, so home of the University of Georgia. Go Dogs! We have 5 counties and 11 library branches. I coordinate all the media relations and stuff, social media, newsletters, all that fun stuff. So happy to be here today.
Cool. Thanks, Rhiannon. Michelle Anderson.
Hi, I'm Michelle from Southwest Iowa at the Atlantic Public Library. And my job as director covers everything what you all have just said, because I'm a small little library. But I did get a compliment today that someone was opening and reading my weekly summer updates. Yay. So that's a win.
That's awesome. Very cool. Kathy.
Hi there, I am Kathy Dempsey, and I am the editor of Marketing Library Services newsletter. I'm taking a little break from that today. I'm on the verge of finishing the July-August issue, after which I will be exhausted. But it'll be a good issue, darn it. I also have a small marketing consulting business called Libraries Are Essential, and I've written one marketing book and read about 5 million others. And I'm really glad that I didn't forget to come to the meeting today.
Yeah, it's very good to have you here. Thank you. Stacy.
Hello, everyone. I am from Indiana, but currently in Florida, rounding about 17 years soon. I work at Alvin Sherman Library, which is a joint use library that's part of Nova Southeastern University. I do a lot of stuff. I'm a liaison for the Computer and Engineering School. I'm a liaison for the Department of Conflict Resolution. I work the reference desk. I do instruction. I work on library guides. I do public programming in collaboration with that group. We're doing a fun Happy Hobby series. So yesterday was my herb gardening workshop, which was extremely popular. And I'm also a part-time librarian for the Healing Arts Institute, which is a brand new nonprofit that has a university counterpart and a community outreach that's working toward creating culturally competent business and therapists, as well as doing outreach to minority and underserved communities.
Yeah, awesome. Yes, it definitely is. Today is we do marketing and we do all the other stuff too. So yeah, very cool. Lots of great stuff. Man, Stacy, yeah, all over the place. Very good. Hannah.
Here we go. Took me a second to unmute. My name is Hannah Kiger. I work at the Johnson City Public Library in Johnson City, Tennessee. And yeah, kind of like Angela said, I do basically anything marketing related here. So social media, PR, newsletters, website, a bunch of other stuff I can't think of right now. Yeah.
Cool. Good. It's good to have you here. Thanks, Anna. And Kelly Cargill.
Hi, so I'm Kelly. I am the marketing and outreach coordinator at the Vestal Public Library in the 4-county library system in the southern tier part of New York. I'm new to this position, but I've been at my library for about 7 years. So yeah, just trying to learn as much as I can about marketing. It's kind of been like hit or miss as to whether or not things work for us. So I'm trying to make sure we have like a, decent, consistent market for our community. So.
That's awesome. Good. Well, so glad. That's great. It's glad everybody's came here. It's wonderful. I'm Chris Boven. I'm the marketing director at the Jacksonville Public Library in Jacksonville, Florida. So I've been here about 5 years. Really, really love it. It's a great place. And I do oversee the website for about 2 years now, which is awesome because I know like what you say, JD, not managing the website, no good. So it's been great. So cool. So let's talk about the book. So the book this month was Contagious by Jonah Berger. Let's just start with what did you like? What did anybody like about the book? What were some things folks enjoyed from this book?
I'll jump in.
Somebody else say something. Go ahead, Tara.
Yeah, I just loved all of the, I guess, different techniques and the science behind it. I think I had mentioned on one of the posts as I was starting to read it that I was like addicted to the show Lie to Me, which is an amazing TV series where you can like look at someone's face and know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And so I just loved kind of like the science behind the psychology of things. And then I thought he did a really good job of giving a ton of examples, some that I knew, some that I didn't know, to really connect it. So I thought it was really good.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I think the examples were great. It always makes it a lot easier to identify with the things that it's saying, even if it is things that you haven't heard of. So yeah, definitely some pretty new and neat things and some different things. What else? What other things did folks like about the book?
I'll say something.
Sure.
Full disclosure, I'm not quite finished.
Oh yeah, that's fine too. Yeah, if you didn't read it, don't worry about it. It's fine. What do you think of what you've seen?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I love how he breaks it down and he makes it really easy to read. I was really interested in when he's talking about the sharing the articles, talking about like the awe and sadness doesn't really do it, but anger and anxiety does. I thought that was really interesting, like how the science and how they did the analysis of that. Very interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool too. I really like that when they're talking about the sharing the articles and the high arousal, low arousal things. And it's interesting because you do see that if you see kind of the posts that seem to do better, that usually hit on something a little more like that. And while a lot of times we want to kind of hit people with something that, it's comfortable and it feels good. It's really cool to see the data that shows, no, these are the things that really get people moving. So yeah, I thought that was real interesting. What else? Anybody else have things that they wanted to share they liked about the book? JD?
I really loved that they mentioned the Hideaway Bar in New York. I was in New York for 36 hours a couple years ago. That's the only place we went.
No way.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
Was it as cool as it sounds?
It's way better than he makes it sound. It is beautiful. Everyone there was great. The drinks were great. The bartenders were great. It was great. I don't need hot dogs. But the whole it was just so great. And it was so interesting. And I would, even if I went there to New York for 36 hours again, that's where I would go. I found that very, very interesting. And it really does spark a, how do I do that for my library? How do I make my place special and interesting, but in a in a continued way. My library is I think I talked about this last time. The one where it was on Stephen Colbert. Somebody was coming in and hiding our books, and they hid one of the Stephen Colbert books. And so Stephen Colbert sent us a 100-pound copy of his book. And we do still get people coming in to see that, but that's still only like maybe like once or twice a month sort of thing. And it's been over 2 years, I think, for that. But that's a bit of an attraction, but it's a large, not well made book. So it almost crushed an older lady a couple years ago. So we don't keep it out, and it's very like, you got to go into this room, it's full of chairs right now. But yeah, how do you come up with that idea that keeps people coming? Because you're the only one that has it.
Yeah, that's a really cool point, JD. What I'd be interested to see if anybody that's here, does anybody here have anything that's like that, kind of a hidden secret, special thing that's only at your library that people come to see? I mean, I think that would be super cool. Anybody have anything like that?
I mean, we have a maker lab that a lot of people come. We're publicizing it and it's getting more and more attention, but that's kind of one of the big draws for us is the makers lab.
What's in the lab that you think makes it like kind of extra special or extra attractive?
Well,
do you have any cool machines?
We have a green screen, we have a Cricut cutter, we've got 3 3D printers, we've got a CNC router, we've got a serger machine. Yeah, and then I think we're also getting a couple other things over the next year or so. And it's actually all set up in its own space now as a lab. So, and then there's work tables and things like that. So it's like a well-known secret.
Yeah. Yeah. Do people discover it? Is it kind of a mix between people discovering it and people kind of going to it as a destination?
Yeah. We'll have some people who come in and they already know about it because we've been doing it for several years and building it. And then we just went through a huge renovation in 2019, and that it really expanded it into its own space. But then we also have people coming in going, what is that over there? What do those do? And then they discover that they can come in and print their own things, and they get really excited then.
Cool. That's cool. Anybody else? I thought somebody else might have had something. Angela?
I have something.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, we have something kind of. Oh, am I on?
Yep, you're on.
Okay. We have something kind of interesting, historical wise. We have a history room that people come to and utilize a lot. But in our history room, we have an Easton flag. That we think was the flag present in the city of Easton in 1776 when the Declaration of Independence was read to our city. We're like one of the few cities where the Declaration of Independence was read. Heritage Day is actually a much more bigger thing in Easton than even July 4th. So we have this really old flag from 1776, kind of like the original Easton flag.
That is really cool.
I think it's really, really neat. So history is a really, I guess, big part of our library and our community.
Yeah, obviously that is definitely something a lot of us have, or some pretty cool historical things, I'm sure, relevant to the community that we live, the areas that we live in. So that's really cool. Stacy, you had something?
A couple years ago, before the pandemic, we were a Pokemon Go site, which was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But permanently now, we have like a Holocaust Center, which it doesn't sound like fun, but it's a permanent exhibit. So it has a lot of items from throughout history, and they just added a virtual person, kind of like hologram, where you can go and sit with him, and it's kind of like an AI that talks about his history. So you're facing this hologram. I haven't tried it yet, but they put it in the newspaper, and we immediately started getting calls about it. And then like right next to Reference on the second floor, we have a Chihuly glass exhibit that our Friends of Library purchased many years ago for us.
Nice.
And, the sunlight comes in. So you always have the parents that come in, the kids that take pictures. I think the funniest comment I heard, other than all like, oh, this is so cool, was these obviously upper class people came through, like these young people. And they're like, oh, we've been to Vegas, or we've been to this. We've seen much better. I was like, you do realize we're a library, right? We don't have Vegas money to buy the Chihuly. But it's very
nice.
The art parts, we have a lot of homeschooling parents that come in and use the library that way. We have some special database collections that nobody has access to at their public library. So all of this is pretty awesome to see those integrations.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we were, that's really neat. Yeah, and those are some cool things that definitely can be nice little discoveries for people. We are right now here, we're talking about, we have 21 libraries in the system, 21 locations in the system. We're looking at 5 of the urban area libraries, the smaller, older ones that haven't been updated in a while. And we're talking about what are the possibilities and kind of, all the possibilities. And I'm hoping that I suggested, I'm really hoping that this one comes through, but we may get one of the libraries that has like a bookshelf wall that then like moves to reveal, something behind it, like an outside area or an outdoor area. So I'm really hoping that that one gets funded. It's going to be a while until it actually gets built, but I always wanted one of those when I was a kid, like a bookshelf that moves and then there's a cool room behind it. So anyway, just a wish list. What other things, about that, or what other things from the book? What other things does anybody want to talk about or share? What were some of the things you learned from the book that you hadn't heard before?
At the very beginning of the book, when he talks about 7% of people pass along information on social media, and then I was like, what? And so I was looking at when this was written, and I know it's a little bit of an older book, so I'm curious, if that's still true today, because I mean, this was, the one I've got says 2013.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder that too. I wonder how much it's changed, but even then, social conversation was a pretty big thing. And to think that it was only 7% of word of mouth that happens online. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like you said, like kind of when you're online, all the conversations are public and you kind of are, or at least public to you, and you're all seeing things, and it's a lot more stimulating, and there's records of things that you can go and look up as opposed to all the conversations that you have. So it was pretty neat that pretty interesting to see that 7%. Anybody else catch that and kind of think, that have any experiences that showed that you felt like it worked, like that was a true word of mouth is mostly happening offline, not really online?
Yeah, and I was just going to add with I'm wondering, I mean, even if that was still true, surely it's got to be different now coming out of the pandemic when everybody was isolated and more online. So I keep meaning to I'm going to look this guy up on Twitter and see what he has to say about it now.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, definitely that the last year has changed a lot of what's happening and a lot of where the conversations are. So there's some good things I'm seeing. I'm missing, we're having some cool things over in the chat too that Linda shared, that she worked at a library in Sweden that had the fur coat of a Swedish princess. That is really cool. That's a cool exhibition. That's really neat. And it went viral on Facebook. That's really great. That's awesome, Linda. Gives away unlimited free coffee. Sarah. So unlimited free coffee during finals week. That's very cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. 3,000 cups. Do anybody else, any other libraries give away food, coffee, those kind of things, or have food and coffee? We don't have that in any of our libraries. I just didn't know if that was a library thing. I see heads shaking no.
We
During
have
the
it.
summer, yeah.
In the
We, like,
summer, yeah. You guys
yeah,
do?
like for kids in the summer, but it's a partnership through the food bank.
Yeah. Ours is through our school system. We are a food site for kids during the summer.
Oh yeah, like yeah, we do summer lunch, yeah, and that's a thing, yeah. So that's pretty
we
cool.
we did
That's
it
pretty neat.
before the pandemic.
Oh, you did too, yeah.
But we opened it up to the public because so many in the community have food sensitivity issues. So,
Oh, sure.
you know, it used to be handing out things. So hopefully we're going to see how we might distribute items in the future. But it was
Yeah.
like serve your own coffee, tea, hot chocolate,
Wow.
2 snacks, and we actually started a swiping mechanism so they could swipe their library cards so that we could do counts. So we could show the administration, yes, we still need a budget for this because look at all the people that are coming through the library, you know, and you know, they're here and we have their data captured. So we're not
Yeah.
just making up random observation stats. So
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's
Like
great when you can
that.
record that stuff. That's really neat. Yeah, anything you can do to count any of those kind of things.
And
Yeah, I used to work at a credit union and we used to give away it was a state credit union and we used to give away popcorn. We had a popcorn machine and we would pull those out on state paydays, 2 paydays a month. And it was really popular and something that, you know, that's something that a lot of companies do with aromas, and that helps to identify their brand, and people would definitely identify the credit union by the popcorn, just like Target. Like if you know, you may not even realize, but one of the predominant smells in Target is the popcorn. So it's something that kind of makes people feel warm and like childhood and come back. So yeah. What other things? What other things to share about, you know, other things from the book, or what kind of things did you hope that were in the book that weren't in the book? Were there any things like that? What did the book lack?
Hey.
Hey, Rana. Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to say, I saw Kathy's question in the chat about,
okay.
you know, what has anybody gotten any solid idea about how to make something at the library go viral? I would say no, but it has made so far, because I'm not done reading the book, but it has made me go back and think about some of the things that we've done that maybe didn't go viral that we were so sure would. Like, well, what did we do wrong? So it's made me think like that.
Yeah.
Like for example, like for library card sign up month, we tried to do a giveaway on social media, like sign up for a library card or show a picture of you with your library card and win, and we'll do a drawing for a Kindle Fire. Surprisingly, we didn't get very many people to do it. And so I'm like, surely everybody likes free stuff. What could I have done differently? So it's brought up some interesting questions for me.
Yeah. And so, so one of the things in the book that I thought was interesting, kind of related to a little bit, was about the context of things. And, you know, we talked about, what was the one? I'm looking over at my notes here. Where was this one? Oh, like this, there was a thing about the bath mat, and then you can't buy the bath mat when you're in your bath, when you're in your bathroom. So the PSA reminding people the bath mat didn't set the right trigger. It didn't set it with when you actually can do that. And the reminder about shopping bags and what kind of things you can do to remind you to bring your reusable shopping bags. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that, you know, like that, where you are trying to entice people to participate, but it's like if the trigger doesn't quite match in their minds, it's hard to get them to actually do the activity. And we've had the same thing where we've tried to get people to participate. and we thought we would get better responses, but we didn't. And I think sometimes it's because the context is different. People aren't thinking about the library at the same time that they're thinking about some of those things. So yeah, what other things? That was a great question, Kathy. What other things? Has anybody tried anything from the book or made any changes or want to try anything, plan to try anything from the book? Or just based on reading the book?
I think if I were still working in a library, the one thing that I would want to try to do is the Trojan horse thing in the chapter about stories, and it made me think, what was the Trojan horse in my library before the pandemic? And I'm curious if anybody got to that chapter and what you thought your library's Trojan horse might be. I thought that was a really interesting way to introduce and explain the concept of the thing. It's basically like customer service. Like, what is the customer service thing that your library does that's unexpected, that's better than anybody else in your community? So I'm curious what people think that is for their libraries.
Yeah, who has an idea about that?
I encounter a lot of people that say we're unexpectedly nice.
It's a good thing. Yeah,
I don't know if it's because South Florida, you have a lot of people in competition for resources. You know, customer service in some areas fails. I've had people come from Miami saying they don't want to go to Miami libraries because we're nicer in Fort Lauderdale, and they keep meeting the librarians with the bun who shush them. So, I mean, and we're engaging in some projects on was it service design? Like we're really trying to look at pages that have too much text, or how we're doing outreach to our people to make it easier for them, because you can say, well, if they really want it, they'll do it, but you have too much to do in your life for like extra stuff to be hard, right? So
I think that's definitely
so
true.
I noticed we have these huge policy pages. I was like, we need to get rid of these. We can make it simpler so that the librarians can help people much easier, and then when people are finding our site and reading, they can fairly clearly tell what we're about.
That's a good idea. No, I think that's great. Yeah. April, did you have something?
Yeah, one of the things that we really have been focusing on over the last several years is creating a culture of yes, and trying to remove barriers and simplify things. We went fine-free last March, and we are still fine-free. And we're really hoping and trying to make that permanent. But it's always, you want to do this? Yes. Okay, let's figure out how. And so that's one of the things that our entire staff is really working really hard on, is really creating and implementing this culture of yes. And it doesn't matter what's going on with somebody's account. We want to work with them. We will make it happen. We want them to use the library. And so removing barriers like overcomplicated policies and text on our website. When I started this position, I looked at our website and where are our library hours? Why do we have to hit 2 clicks to even get to that page to find out when we're open? That should be at the top. And well, I got it at the bottom, but it's on the homepage now and it's on every screen. So we're getting there.
No,
but yeah, removing
good.
Barriers and a culture of yes is one of the things that we're really, really working on. And I think that's something special that we do.
That's great. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that just, we have a get to yes thing we do here too. So it's very important. And I like the idea that you're all saying about, removing barriers, and that can make a big difference in how people do. And something that I think I may have mentioned before, and I may be unpopular with this opinion, but I see this sometimes, and I don't know if you all see it. I think we may have even talked about before, but a lot of times it seems that we in the library, at least in this library, sometimes get caught up in making things easier for our staff instead of making things easier for our customers. So, so we make policies, we make practices, we make procedures. And then staff will ask for things that make things easier. And obviously, I mean, this definitely crosses over for us, and I'm guessing crossover for you all too in marketing, where they want, flyers and posters, and they want printed everything to answer everybody's questions. And so, little soapbox for me, but we do get that a lot. I see a lot of heads nodding, and I see a couple applauses. So yeah, signs do not solve everything. Yes. Yeah. It's definitely something that I think I may have also mentioned here before too, is when I look at our 5-star reviews in Google, which is great, we get tons of them, and I hope you all do too. I would imagine. I think people really like libraries, and when they review them, something I see in a lot of our 5-star reviews, and I'd be curious if anybody else does, is clean. How clean it is. The library was so clean. This library was so clean, and I think there's like this expectation that libraries are not clean, that there's these old dirty buildings. Or, I mean, we do have custodians coming around a lot, and we always have had pretty good custodial staff. But it's interesting to see in all those reviews, like, oh, the library was clean. It's not always like the top of the review, but it's peppered like everywhere. So does anybody else see that? Does anybody else notice that? Or what else have you noticed besides that? So, or we can talk about the book some more. What other things did y'all think of from the book? Was there anything, anything else that anybody wants to try or thought about trying, or has questions about, thought, oh, this is interesting and I think it can apply, but maybe not.
Did anybody use the worksheets and the workbook that the author put up on their site? Did anybody take a look at those? Because I'm downloading them today. All you have to do is give them your email. I give them my Gmail, but he puts up a workbook so that you can work through some of the ideas, which is really cool. And so I'm looking forward to working with that. He also has like a model he has an infographic for his Contagious steps thing, where he includes, the social currency, the triggers, the emotion, public, practical value stories. And I'm probably going to print that out and like hang it up just as a reminder. But I was wondering if anybody else downloaded those and started going through them for ideas.
Yeah, I hadn't had anybody else. I don't know if anybody else had, but I see that. Yeah, thanks for pasting that in the chat too, Stacy. The link to the resources. So if anybody else done that?
I also recommend Z Frank. I mentioned him. We found him by accident on YouTube when we were looking for laughter invoking videos during the pandemic at home. He actually worked for BuzzFeed, but he's like an artist, humanitarian, does really interesting projects. He has 2 TED Talks up that are great to listen to. Cool. And he talks about why things were contagious and how to do some of the intersections between projects to really garner interest, and how the surprises that he gets when he asks people to participate. So if you haven't heard of him, you can find him on YouTube, Z.E. Frank. But this book kind of reminded me of how he approaches things. So
yeah, that's really neat. Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks, Stacy. That's good advice. So there were some other things in the book. One thing that was interesting were that I'm trying to figure out where I got this from the book. But there was something about when he's talking about public behavior, and how it might even have been in the one about alcohol students drinking alcohol. So if you haven't read the book or you haven't gotten there yet, there's a section where they were trying to figure out, somebody who was trying to figure out how to help curb student binge drinking, which is a big problem at colleges. And one of the big revelations was that that while the behavior was happening, when they asked students about it, the students all said, no, we'd rather we didn't drink. We'd rather it wasn't like that. But the problem was that the thoughts were private, but the behavior was public. And so it goes into the thing about, in this whole public chapter about, and if you read it, you remember about some different things where public behavior kind of can drive other public behavior and other things. So something that I am planning on trying is, and actually I've done it a little bit on Instagram, is just pulling out our top 5 most checked out books or most looked at books in our catalog and sharing those and seeing if that, if that in any way helps to drive any more activity. It's kind of hard to measure, I guess, but it's something that I thought was kind of interesting in that, if you show people what other people are checking out, then maybe will that drive behavior. So has anybody ever tried anything like that, showing, top lists, top things checked out, and has that driven anybody's decisions or anything like that? Morgan?
Again, sorry. I do that also on Instagram, has more interaction on that, I have seen, as opposed to Facebook. I've tried both during, active times when I see that people are on there and such. But the Instagram, for us at least, interestingly, of course, is the like 20 to 40 something set. And we actually have a high ratio of males on Instagram compared to others that I've spoken with, which is interesting. But I also tend to do posts about nonfiction specifically, and they tend to go more towards nonfiction type materials. And I mix up the hashtags too a lot to see which ones kind of hit better than others. So I have found most of the interactions I get though are from new books. So whenever new books, it's I do a stack of them and I kind of use that as my in-betweeners. So I do 3 new books, either they're horizontally stacked with a vertical stack in the middle, and then I intersperse that with the reels and video. And so to make it pleasing to the eye as you want it to be in Instagram. So
very cool.
Yeah.
And so you get a lot of good response from those kind of things?
Yeah, a fair amount. And I find that if I do a series of 3 book posts and then put the most recent video after it, then I'll get more video views too. And then that, of course, makes that go more widely than not. And from the standpoint on Instagram too, from the viral standpoint, the only way you can truly go viral with library stuff is by doing the reels. And depending on which music you select, the musician will actually share your stuff. And I've had that happen, and like 5,000 views instantly. And all it is a pile of books like zooming in and out and in and out and in and out. They love it. I don't know.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I never thought about that. Well, I'm gonna have to look at your Instagram to see that, but that is super, super cool. Yeah. Anybody else? Those kind of things work pretty well. Book stacks and lists of things that you check out. Anybody had anything work well like that?
Book faces. Book face is a well done book face. You can't top it. You really can't. We do a lot of those. Well, we did a lot of those, and then when the pandemic hit, everybody's priorities shifted, and then we're starting to get back to that. But book faces, and then we also in our stories every Monday release coming to a shelf near you, and do like 5, and then those go into our highlights, and then we just clean those out once a month and just start with new ones so that they're not just constantly building up. But those get pretty good engagement.
Yeah, it is great. I mean, I think, again, it's really cool to see all the promotion of the collections that actually get the get the attention. It's really nice because, yeah, as we know, I mean, we do a lot with programs, but it's the collection that spend a lot of money on, and people really are using it, and that is what gets people hooked a lot. So that's really cool. There was this is another thing that's kind of, you know, if anybody saw this Instagram thing where it's the would you rather, somebody posted it in one of the Facebook library groups. Um, and I tried it out, the like a 5-story would you rather this or that about books, and it got really great attention. So so great little thing to inject in your stories. Would you rather, there's a would you rather 100 book list, books subject list. I don't know what it's called, but something like that. Put those words in Google, you'll find it. But yeah, very cool. Anything else? What else about the book that that anybody noticed or wanted to discuss, or again was kind of hoping was in the book and wasn't really there?
Stacy said book tasting. What does that even mean?
Oh,
I need
yeah,
some more information.
We talked about book tasting before. Yeah, Stacy, describe book tasting.
It's meant to kind of introduce people to the book without them having to read the whole thing. So you can do it with themes. I even saw a librarian post in some of the other programming groups where they like set up tables and they actually like set it up for like dinner, but there was a book on each plate. Before they closed down for the pandemic, they did that. But I've seen a lot of really cool virtual programs too. But people just don't have time, and they want to, it's kind of like doing reader's advisory, without in a group format under a theme. If you Google it, you'll see lots of ideas. If you want any of the programming Facebook groups I'm on, you can contact me.
Yeah.
And I'll send them through. But you can do a lot of really cool things with that. Now, I don't like the title necessarily book tasting.
Yeah.
It has some conflicting emotions for me. And I imagine it might have conflicting emotions for other people too. Because they're like, book tasting. Wait a minute, I'm not eating the book, am I? Is this a workshop about cakes? Are we?
I think about all the weird things that you check in. But
yeah, that too. Like. Also, please do not lick our books, right? Yeah. So I think there's another name for it, but I can't grasp it right now. But it definitely has some cool ways of doing it. And I could see how you could do something like that really transformative on social media too.
That's cool. Yeah. I've heard. Yeah, I heard book tasting either on here or in one of the groups somebody was talking about. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, Linda's sharing something over there about Swedish library. If we knew Swedish, we would, understand.
Yeah, I have to tell you about them. They are so good at just capturing the little things at the libraries, and they make it so funny because they have different characters. There's this evil librarian who sort of drives the others nuts. And just the way they do it, they're really good at movie making, I guess. So just look at the videos because I think you'll sort of get a sense of them.
Yeah, like he talked in the book about the panda video and how while it was weird, it was strange, everybody kind of got the association of the panda with I think it was cheese. So yeah, so there's some of those examples in there about some different things. So yeah. Oh, book speed dating. Yeah, that's another that's another good way to look at it. Yeah, can you kind of catch something quickly and do that? So yeah, there was something else in the book that I thought was interesting, and I don't know how to use it. And I'd be curious if anybody has any ideas. While we got we're about 8 minutes left here. So there was something about setting reference points, and we didn't talk about Tara. We didn't talk about gamification. Did you have something to talk about, or were you curious about gamification?
Well, I was
Sure,
just
go ahead.
curious. I was just curious if that was something that you guys had thought about for libraries. I know there's a ton of different apps that do that. Like I'm addicted to the Target app, which allows you to donate back to the community after you do so many certain things. I was just curious if anyone had actually done any kind of gamification with your libraries and if it had worked at all.
Yeah. Anybody have anything to share about how you gamified something that you did at the library? People earn points, earn something.
We're hoping to replicate maybe in the future one of the programs that was highlighted in LOX. There actually is like several games that have been created by librarians for to aid discussions. So that was one idea they came up with, and kind of twisting it around for like getting people interested in books and seeing it from different perspectives. I think we had like we gamify some stuff in our programs for the academic community, but I want to say that you have to kind of like, you have to plan, right? And things have been just kind of like lately, right? So I think with our summer programming, they're doing a lot with the, signing up for that and getting a points, and it kind of feels like you're competing a little bit. So that helps.
Yeah, summer I think is a big summer reading programs, always seem to have a little bit of that gaming in there. I don't see enough leaderboards and things like that though, that I would really like to see if we could see some. I mean, and I would love to even have, our top readers and but without them actually opting into that may not go over so well. But yeah, but having people opt into some of this stuff would be pretty cool.
Several years ago, we were part of a larger group within Central Kentucky that did One Book, One Bluegrass. And the book that year was Ready Player One.
Oh.
And so just like that book has Easter eggs all over the places you have to hide, there were Easter eggs on the websites of each of the different libraries. And there were also things in the libraries. And so you got points as you did these certain things. And so like when you would check in, and there was a leaderboard that was on there, and then whoever actually managed to have the most points or something like that got this huge box that was decorated like a Rubik's Cube and full of all sorts of 80s stuff. But that was one of the things, and it was incredibly popular, though not as popular as the year before, which was all the night circus. And then gala where the author came and everything, and that was really cool. Nice. But that didn't have a leaderboard or anything like that like Ready Player One did. I enjoyed Ready Player One more because I love that book, but
that was a great book.
The Night Circus was really cool.
That
Morgan,
sounds
did you have
awesome.
something?
I was just going to say, I've thought about, and I haven't had time to implement it, but we have a lot of geocache locations around our space. There's a lot of hiking trails and that sort of thing. And I've always thought about like, oh, I'm going to go do that with my kids. And then when I'm doing it, I'm going to throw a little library thing in there and be like, basically use a system that's already built and to our advantage. So, but I know of a lot of people who travel that when they only have like an hour layover here or there, they'll go do geocaches just to kind of explore the city in a different way. So
we're going to try to do that in the library and replicate a program that Indiana University did where they geocache locations within the library. Since I have to do a workshop on it in August, I think. Yeah, for like National Picnic Day, National Outdoors Day, I kind of themed it. So that's kind of along the lines too. I was thinking geocaching as a kind of like gamification way of getting people into the stacks.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's really
We've
cool.
also tried Kahoot, and I would say it's definitely demographic based, whether it's going to be successful or not. Our older patrons, the gamification is not, they think it's fun, but we don't get the interaction with it. If you're going for, the teen set, or maybe even some young families. So it really truly depends on what demographic you're trying to reach for.
Yeah, Kahoot. Tara, Kahoot is a good way to do that on a real small scale, and it works really well. It seems to work really well with teens and younger folks, and people that are interested in those kind of things. So this was great. We just have a few minutes left. One other thing that I was going to mention, I'm not going to belabor it now, is they had a thing in there about price gap. So like, would you rather get a grill for $250 if it was originally $350, or for $240 if it was originally $255? So it was like about reference points. So if you haven't read the book, or that was kind of an interesting thing, I think there's something in there for libraries about reference points and how, yes, even though we don't have prices on our books, there still is some sort of a sacrifice that you need to do. And I think there's some reference point thing there that we might be able to use. And thanks, Linda, you shared GPS quiz. Very cool. We'll check that out. So what I've been doing is, when I've been publishing the videos from the meetings, is I'll put the link to the notes to the chat up there, so you can get the chat things. And if you join the email list at www.librarymarketingbookclub.org, then you will get notifications of like when the videos are ready and some other things in your email. So you won't even have to worry about Facebook. But so last thing we do here, well, two things. First of all, I want to say next month's book is Kathy Dempsey. Yay, Kathy. So we are going to be reading Kathy's book, The Accidental Library Marketer. So so you can pick it up. I know it's available through Amazon, and I have the digital version. So that's really handy. So get Kathy's book. We're going to be meeting 1 week earlier than usual next month, because Kathy's going on a real honest to goodness vacation, but we would love to have her. We really want to have her there. So when we talk about the book, she can kind of help answer some questions. That'll be really cool. So thanks so much, Kathy, for doing that. And I'm really glad we selected that book. And the last thing we do is we pick somebody to win a book. So Angela, you were the book winner last month. So pick a number between, let's see, 1 and 11.
10.
10 is Kathy Dempsey. So I don't know what we can do there. This is the one situation where, so
Okay,
Kathy, here's what
Go ahead,
we're
I'm
gonna
sorry.
do. So Kathy, we will get you a copy of the following month's book, whatever that book is. You win that one. But Angela, pick another one. And
5.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hannah. So Hannah, you win a copy of Kathy's book. So Kathy doesn't have to get another copy of her own book. So
I am not reading that book again. So you can take it.
That is great.
And Angela has generously offered to purchase the book for Hannah. I will make sure that we get Kathy a future copy of a future book that's not hers. But.
And I just put my email address in the chat. Okay. So send me your mailing address and I'll get it to you.
I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's so exciting.
Congratulations. Yes, very nice. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate you coming to the book club meetings. I hope you're having a good time. I hope this was great. And I'll send out a survey because it's marketing and that's what we do. So thanks so much. Let me know what you thought. And anytime you have suggestions, Facebook, email, whatever it takes, just send them to me. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Bye, everyone. It's good to see you again.
Bye. Bye, Linda.
Bye. Yes, bye. I'll see you next
Good night,
time.
Linda.
Good night.
I know.
Yes.
I know Linda from the farthest away. So thanks, everybody. All right. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye.